Welcome back to VUDU Garage. Today, just behind me there, you'll see a BMW 235i. So this is the M55 powered 235i, running around about 320 brake horsepower standard. This car has come in today basically to have a full VUDU V420R, that's a mouthful, V420R package. So that basically consists of front mount intercooler, downpipe, charge pipe, it's got a panel filter on, and it's also got a remap that's about to be going onto the car. So as the title of obviously the package sort of gives away, we aim for around about 420 horsepower in this package. We have seen as high as 440. Again, generally we like to market a little bit underquoted so that you know, we're not sort of giving any false promises out. Obviously all these cars respond differently to the tuning, but generally we aim for around about 420 horsepower. In terms of torque, again, you're looking as high as 490 feet-pound of torque. So as you can imagine, all through the rear wheels, they're an absolute handful. So we're going to go out in this car with the customer in a little bit, just get a little bit of a feel for the car and also get their sort of first reactions on the, you know, the comparison between stock and what they're about to jump to today. We're going to throw the car on the dyno as it is now, do some standard runs as we do always, make sure we're logging the car, make sure we're happy with everything, there's no underlining issues before we actually start putting our own signature on the car. So yeah, we'll go and take a look around the car, because obviously as you can tell just from this angle it looks mean, it's really nice. So we'll have a little look around the car in and out. Again, we'll be going out on the road in it as well, so we'll get some flybys, we'll get some in-car footage as well, and yeah, more importantly we'll have a look at what it's going to make on the dyno as well today. So if you're not already, make sure you like this video, make sure you leave a comment in the description. If you've got any questions surrounding the package, there's going to be links in the description below to all of the 420R package and all of the components that are within the package individually listed in there as well. But yeah, let's go and have some fun with this one, because it's going to be quite a handful. So again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and yeah, without further ado, let's go and have a look. Right, yo, so the car has just been dynoed on stage 2 software. Again, we dynoed the car standard before, so we've got a little comparison between the two. Anthony's here, who is our local BMW nerd, who's going to run us through basically some very small issues that we're having, and a reason why we're going to do a little bit of a recalibration on the tuning. So, no pressure.
Right, so this 235 is running our V420R kit. We've run it up on the dyno. Notice that there's a little bit of a dip in the graph, which I'm sure George will chuck in on the video. That dip's due to it pulling timing. When the guys have logged it on the run, they can see that it's pulling ignition, which is due to the fuel that's being used on this vehicle. The customers mentioned to us that for him to get, say, Shell V-Power or anything of a high octane, it's quite a way out of his way to go pick it up. So what we're going to do is do him a slightly down-tuned version for a 95-97 mix of fuel as opposed to a 99 RON fuel. What all that'll mean is it won't run as much ignition timing, so it won't be pulling the timing back when it can't get the good RON fuel there for it to add the timing where it's going to pick up more torque. So currently it's doing 435 foot-pounds of torque. Normally we'd see on, say, the demo car, my demo car does 480 foot-pounds, and that's mapped for 99 RON fuel. Because it's pulling the timing, it's not producing the amount of torque and quite the amount of power that we'd expect. So what we're going to do is run a 97 RON map, which should put a little bit more timing in there, so it's not going to pull it. The car's going to be a little bit more happier. We'll log it on the dyno, and we should see the car, I would have thought, do somewhere in the region of about 450 foot-pounds and do just over maybe about 410 horsepower, something like that.
So again, as Anthony's just mentioned there, obviously it's vital to make sure that you're tuning the car specifically to the fuel that you're going to be running in it. Obviously it's quite a backwards process. Again, we mentioned in a Ford video that we did the other day, it's quite back to front to go and tune your car up to a high level octane, but then only go and put weaker fuel in. So you're going to end up doing more damage than anything else if you again doing the process backwards. So we'll go and throw another map on the car, we'll run it up again, so we'll have hopefully 3 separate graphs against standard 99 RON, which again is obviously not adequate for this car. Now we have learned that it's only running 97 fuel. And then we'll also run it up and we'll get a graph for the 95 to 97 RON map that we're going to put on the car. Again, hopefully smooth out the graph a little bit so we've got no flat spots in the areas that we're having you know, we're seeing a lot of ignition timing pulled out the car. So we've come upstairs to have a quick chat with Anthony and Nick, who both are going to run us through the whole process of the day now the job's complete.
No, so what we've done today is, I know George and Anthony have been through a few bits with all of you guys already. Ultimately, the car came in and we were unaware that it was using a 97 RON fuel. So we've tuned the car to 99 RON, which in turn we leave a lot of the factory knock control in place, just for safety more than anything. So if people do decide to run a lesser fuel or they get caught short, the knock control will actually do its job and pull ignition timing out the map as it finds the early onset of knock, or detonation, better known as. So by doing this, obviously the graph doesn't look fantastic if you were to run a 99 RON map with 95 RON fuel in it. You're going to find lots of dips in the graph where the knock control is pulling the ignition timing out. Because we know this customer wants to use a lesser octane fuel all the time, we've actually gone back to the calibration process. We've pulled some ignition timing out, which in turn makes the graph nice and smooth. So you're not going to make the peak numbers that we would expect to see from a 99 RON map. But what you are going to see is you're going to see a nice smooth curve. The boost profiles are going to look really good, and ultimately the customer can now put whatever cheapest nasty fuel he wants in it, and it's still going to make the 410 horsepower that it's made on the day. If we have made it clear to the customer that if he wants to come back, go for a better fuel grade, he can come back in, have a new tune put on it that's going to be slightly more aggressive on the ignition timing, and I'll probably tell you, I don't know what
the thing will do over 450 foot-pounds that it's doing at the minute on a 95 RON. It'll do closer to about 470, 480, and it'll go from about 410 horsepower to anything just short of 430 horsepower.
So yeah, as Nick and Ant have obviously just mentioned there's loads and loads of different options for, regardless of what car you're tuning, again, regardless of whether it's a Fiesta ST or whether it's a 135 Beamer or something like that. So again, as we've sort of battered on about all the way through the day, it's always really important that you make sure you're tuning your car to the specific fuel that you can be running in it. Other than that, we'll leave the video there. Just make sure you leave a comment in the description below if you've got anything, you know, any queries, any questions. We'll, as we again have mentioned a few times, leave in the description below links to all the products that are involved in the video. You know, we'll leave individual products, we'll leave it as a complete package as well, so it just makes it easier for you to have a look and again do a little bit of research on. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. So make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.